And it is Natalie Gilbert, a woman who reached a final on the women's series against Sweden's Vicky Pruim.
Outside.
We'll bring you up to date with all the goings on around the arena, including the match currently ongoing between Bo Greaves and Corinne Hammond. 2-0 to Bo Greaves in that one, but we do have 3 players through to the quarterfinals. One we've just seen, Robin Byrne beating Katie Sheldon 4-2. Lisa Ashton is there. She's beaten Eileen de Graaf by the same scoreline. And another 4-2 victory
outside
in the match between Anastasia Dobromoslova and Makuru Suzuki. And interestingly, it is Anastasia who's won that contest, so it's shaping up for an intriguing battle towards the end of the tournament, Abby.
It is indeed, and Fallon Sherrock is going to take 25 on Dita Hedman in the last 16 as well. Another blockbuster clash in that one. It's an interesting one this though, isn't it? Because Natalie Gilbert, as you mentioned, she's had that really good run to a final, but either side of that, she's not done wonderful things on the women's series, but she has threatened in a number of her games. Some of the games we've seen her play in, she's come incredibly close, but then lost out in a scoreline that doesn't really suggest the game was as close as 45. It has been. Just a bit of trouble closing games out.
Yeah, she's certainly a very capable player, very solid. When she did have that run that day, what was very impressive was her first start. It just seemed to be finding the treble 20.
45.
Almost every visit.
Yeah, just the one victory for Natalie yesterday.
35.
That coming over Rachel Brooks in the first event of the day. That was in a last leg decider.
Bo Greaves is now 3-0 up on Corinne Hammond, by the way, averaging
36.
in the 90s once again.
It's just standard procedure now, isn't it, for Bo Greaves?
81.
Interestingly as well, during a little break we had in play, we were having a little look at all the tables, and players normally sit within the same groups, but Fallon Sherrock had gone over to sit with Aurora Focasato, the player she'd beaten in the first round. But we mentioned during that game that Aurora is someone who very much looks up to and idolises Fallon, so nice to see them having a little chat and Fallon going over to sit with her for a few minutes as well.
Yeah, and we get the advantage of seeing that. You know, most people who watch darts only ever see what happens on the stage or in front of the cameras. But Fallon Sherrock is one of those players who does have time for particularly young female dart players. And, you know, she turned up at Alexandra Palace. She never asked to be a role model, but she became one. And it's a responsibility that she's handled with great care and pride.
Most definitely, and certainly in such a pressurised environment for her today. She'll know what's at stake for her, of course, trying to secure that Alexandra Palace spot for this year. But the fact that in the middle of this competition, while she had that little break, I just thought that was a really nice touch from Fallon to go over and sit with someone who she knows idolises her. But Natalie Gilbert here requiring tops to take the opening leg in this one. Is that a nice guide for her? Looks to be. But no, she drifts into double 5 instead.
Yeah, she probably wanted to hit that dart. It would have gone in below the barrel, but
68.
Got the weight right, lost the line.
Game shot.
Puts it right brilliantly. Can be awkward, those odd numbered doubles, but very attacking dart that from Natalie Gilbert. Wasn't scared of going inside. Confirmation now that Bo Greaves has beaten
125.
An average of 92.49. So Greaves into the quarters. Fallon Sherrock one match away from doing so, but a difficult task against Dita Hedman.
45.
Sherrock or Hedman would play Robin Byrne in the... Oh, apologies.
180.
Anka Zylstra in the quarterfinals. Zylstra is 2-0 up in that match. Robin Byrne will play Lisa Ashton.
45.
The winner of this match will play Anastasia Dobromoslova.
95.
So Vicky Pruim first to a finish in this second leg.
84.
And she's going to have quite a bit of time as well to take care of this 101.
49.
She'll be back to take care of that 52. Bit of an off leg so far, but Vicky Pruim, a really solid leg for her so far
60.
in this one. She's unable to level proceedings in that visit. She'll return for double 8 though. Will Natalie Gilbert be able to apply any pressure? A good second dart there for her. Follows that up very nicely. But Vicky Pruim could render that irrelevant if she's able to pin double 8, which she is able to with her second dart. One apiece here. And as Chris Murphy said, we do have a bit of a privilege here to have a little look out into the venue. And just as Fallon Sherrick was heading to her board to prepare for her match against Dieter Hedman, Bo Greaves was walking in the other direction past her, having just secured her place. And as you mentioned yesterday, Chris Murphy,
60.
Don't know why I double named you twice there, but I did. Fallon Sherrick, first to the board, having those warm-up darts, and she's spending a lot of time practicing before her matches, isn't she?
Yeah. She knows
85.
She knows, you know, she wants to keep her focus, willing, as we said, to speak to people like Aurora in between matches, but
100.
She wants to prepare for her match now just before her opponent gets there, Dieter Hedman. By the way, there is still a game going on in the last 32. Mandy Smith and Maria O'Brien. Whoever wins that will face Kirsty Hutchinson, and then whoever wins that will face Bo Greaves. So that's another little challenge for Greaves. It's going to be a long old wait until she starts the next match. And for the last couple of days, she's just been
60.
playing constantly almost, hasn't she? So another little aspect that could work in her favour against her, or have no bearing at all.
And given her mindset, I'd probably go for that latter option. It probably won't have too much bearing on proceedings because, again, I asked her earlier, you know, you played your first final yesterday 58. And then you already knew at that point that you would be facing Aileen de Graaf in the first match of the next tournament. She said, yeah, I knew that. Didn't really have any bearing on anything that I did. I just turned up. I knew players were going to play well against me. I just dealt with it as best I could. So...
80.
So, treble 20 with one of the first two darts. She wasn't thrown, it was dropped. So she does still have two darts left. She can't find the treble she's looking for.
60.
An outside opportunity for Vicky Pruim.
Well, Natalie Gilbert is going to return, and I can say that in that last 32 match, it is now 3 apiece between Maria O'Brien and Mandy Smith, so that one going all the way. Natalie Gilbert to re-establish her lead, pins tops. No problems at all there for Gilbert.
Yeah, interestingly, Anke Zielstra, the Phoenix from the Netherlands, 3-0 up
100.
So I wouldn't have fancied that kind of scoreline in that game. Zielstra, the kind of dame of Dutch darts, who's on the brink of a place in the quarterfinals.
100.
Women's Series 19, the 2022. The penultimate event of the year. It has been a fantastic year. It's grown every single year, and it will grow even more next year. 24 events. In fact, Anke Zielstra has now won that match 4-0. Do you know why she's called the Phoenix?
Go for it.
You thought that you did good prep.
55.
Anke means phoenix in Persian.
Wow. I'm blown away.
46.
So much so you're going to have to commentate by yourself for the remainder of the day.
Well, I hope not, because that's the only bit of prep I did.
You mentioned that result there, Rhian Griffiths. Again, it's turned into another frustrating day for her, isn't it? We saw her on the streaming board earlier and she was able to progress, but just not the clinical performance we expected from her in that one. She's just having a little dip at the moment, isn't she? I know she did make it through to the last 16 there, but not the convincing
60.
performances we've expected from her.
Certainly convincing from Vicky there with the 180 to leave this 130.
40.
Still not in a bad position. With this kind of level, getting a 180 in a leg, you're going to get opportunities, or you should at least. So even though she's had 3 scores in the 40s in the same leg,
85.
Looking at this 90 to level up the match at 2 apiece.
That's a beautiful first start there for double 15.
75.
She's not able to complete it. Can Natalie Gilbert take out the 101? Well, it's more likely now. Tops then.
81.
She's already taken out a couple of delightful finishes today. Not able to add the 101 there in that one.
3.
Vicky Pruim not able to level us up on that occasion.
Double 10 then. But Natalie Gilbert working towards it. Not sure that's much of a help,
10.
to be honest. Wasn't close enough to bounce it off the barrel. And it could be a pivotal point in this match. 3-1 and then thrown to the match is a big difference to being tied at 2 apiece.
No score.
But it might be 3-1 because she's found the wrong bed and bust a score.
And this time Natalie Gilbert does capitalise to move within 1 of the match. And just as Vicky Pruim was busting there, Dita Hedman was doing the same in the first leg against Fallon Sherrock. But Sherrock a long way back in that one. Very low scoring opening leg from Sherrock. Her highest
41.
visit a 60 in that one. So Dita Hedman has taken a 1-0 lead in that match.
Well, these women's series events are reminiscent to me of the early stages of PDC Pro Tour events, where the likes of Sherrock, Greaves, Ashton and some other players will play in the early rounds. I know it's an open door, so it's different in that sense, but a lot of the time they'll be playing players who they don't think are capable of beating them. Now Fallon Sherrock is playing a player who she knows is capable of beating her, so it's an interesting one to keep an eye on.
It is an interesting one to keep an eye on. And another thing to keep an eye on, you might be wondering, you know, how Bo is feeling, whether she's focusing on that Fallon Sherrock match at all. She's currently sat on her table with a number of close friends, her sister as well, and they're trying to get small objects into a plastic cup at the moment, so I can safely say she has no interest at all in that Fallon Sherrock match. She is just having a whale of a time down there.
Well, that is a form of practice, really, isn't it? Hand-eye coordination.
It is indeed.
Also, you probably won't be able to hear it, but can also hear the rain belting down on the roof here in Robin Park. I think you can probably hear it, actually. It's getting louder and louder.
68.
Thought that was just your belly after that remark about skipping lunch for an extra last 16 tie.
Well, there is that. Can't even go out to the sandwich van now either.
9.
And Gilbert's made a meal of that.
$43.
Yeah, Pruim would have hoped for better with that one, and it looks like she could be under significant pressure when she returns, but just the ton in the end from Natalie Gilbert, unable to follow that first start in the treble. And Vicky Pruim for double 16, unable to take out that ton plus finish.
I fancy this, you know. I think it's going to go. Oh, Natalie, what have you done? She did the hard bit and missed the easy bit.
47.
You know, earlier when you mentioned, what do you mean the curse of the Murph?
I know.
89.
You can't hear me, you know.
Getting further away, Vicky.
No score.
So then, Natalie Gilbert to complete the 4-1 victory in this one. I can tell you as well that Fallon Sherrick has levelled things up with Dieter Hedman. That's now 1 apiece in that one.
Yeah, and if you do want to follow the action while we're not on air, you can just head to the tvdartconnect.com website and follow any of the games ongoing away from the streaming boards. Although we may be streaming for a little longer because Gilbert is struggling to fall over the line here.
Yeah, she's certainly had her chances, hasn't she, to get over the line in this one. Will she have any more? 21. Yes, she will. So she'll return 488 for the match.
Game shot from the match.
Is that Natalie Gilbert through to the quarterfinals here at the Women's Series. Vicky Pruim had chances to at least elongate the encounter, but missed a handful of darts at double, and Gilbert eventually got over the line. We will be back with some quarter-final action very, very shortly indeed, but there are matches going on, particularly that one between Dieter Hedman and Fallon Sherrick. You can follow the action, as I said, live on the Dart Connect website, and we'll return very soon with a quarter-final.